Welcome to Bloke on the Range. Today it's me and my MAS-36, starting my little small French collection. This particular one started its life in July 1945, so immediately post-occupation, and sometime in the 60s it had a complete refurbish. About the only thing that remains is probably the trigger guard, the receiver, mag plate. That's about it. Bayonet, perhaps. So got new stock, probably a new bolt, new barrel. Yeah. So it's pretty much a new rifle. It has, I know it's a new barrel because it has a slight counterbore, if you can see that. And that was instigated with the MAS-36 48, which was the first type that had distinctive rifle grenade launching rig. And from that moment on, that barrel became standard, so anything that had a refurb got that barrel, and that's it. What is there to say about it? It's rear locking. The lugs are actually at 45 degrees, despite having a bolt throw of 90, which astounded the bloke.
I've been believing myths. Naughty me.
No, you should know better than that. Rear sight is a nice little peep sight.
It's kind of small peep sight. I'm wondering how that's going to do in this low light we've got in here.
Yeah, we'll see. If you've seen Ian's series on these, you'll know that they are not windage adjustable. You can have elevation, and that lifts up the whole sight leaf, and correction is done mathematically with a grid system. And you can see this one, if you've got a good sight, you can see it's actually considering massively off center. So I've yet to see whether it's actually zeroed as such, or it's just got a random sight on it, so that'll be exciting. I assume it's been zeroed when it was put in storage. The ammunition is 7.5 by 54, which was first came about in 1924, and then was modified in 29 when they realised that soldiers were interchanging with the available Mauser ammunition. That post World War I, which was awash, and would lead to nasty things happening to light machine guns.
Yeah. Because they had a light machine gun and a standard infantry rifle in a different caliber in that era.
Well, they carried on having different calibers, so with 8mm the bell until post World War II. So yeah. One thing which amazed me, considering this is pretty much the last beast of its kind in terms of bolt action rifles, is that you don't have a fall away clip system, so you have to pull it out every time you reload, which is a bit silly. There were more than enough rifles at the time that used this, and yeah, for some reason they didn't bother. The little slot for the projections on the clip are just far too deep, so there's no way you can even try and force it through.
Now there's a funny forward crank on that bolt handle.
Yes. It looks funny like that. Stop. But when you pull it home, it's more or less in position for the trigger, at least in theory. Unless you go too far and miss it. Yeah, we'll see how that performs in rapid fire. I don't like doing rapid fire, but we'll see. I'll do it for you.
Other bits this end?
Other bits this end, you have a nice hooded foresight. This is then
big chunky
post, not adjustable in any way. Fixed to the barrel, of course. Mm-hmm. And you have now a pressed forend with the tamper-proof, or let's say soldier-proof screw heads, which are actually all over this. They don't want you to take it apart. And in fact, I did take it apart to check the refurb date on it, which is 1962, and I discovered that there's actually some kind of gooey, sticky, tacky substance at select points along the contact, well actually at the contact points between barrel and the wood. So I didn't remove it because it was so specific that it's there for a reason. It might be, well, I suppose it's the reason. It's their technique for bedding in a cheap and efficient manner.
Now there's no screw at the back on the fore end. So how does the fore end actually attach? Because this is something no one's ever talked about as far as I'm aware.
Well, this is a metal plate. This metal plate has a hook on the end, and it just hooks in to the bottom of the receiver here.
And then what?
And then you have barrel bands, and that's it.
So at some point you'll take this off to show the nice people actually how that
I suppose
functions.
So. And yeah, there is zero movement anywhere.
Yeah, by rights, this is something that shouldn't shoot well at all, but they seem to have managed to find a sweet point and actually make it shoot.
Yeah, I mean the wood here is a perfect fit. There's no play between the two pieces possible. This is tightened to hell, and yeah.
Now the common myth has the French infantryman as a glorified pikeman. So
yeah, there we go. But it's not quite a pike, and of course it's a short, handy rifle, so full length is not ridiculously unwieldy. Stacking hook, a nice throwback, and extraction is done in the classic Beutewaffe fashion, shall we say?
Well, it's not quite though. It's a bit half-half. It's a bit Springfieldy.
Yeah,
a bit of two cams.
They've shared it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a massive stop, and the bolt is extremely simple. Big beefy extractor. A nice sticky firing pin. Yeah, that's it. So obviously that bit the infantryman was supposed to clean. This is the second type of end cap that they had. The first one apparently had a tendency to disassemble itself, so they put a positive catch on the end so that you can only disassemble it by expressively pushing down. Right, I don't think there's much else to say about it.
Well, it wasn't intended ever to be a frontline rifle, was it?
Well, no, not really. The project in the immediately post World War One was the production of a semi-auto for frontline troops. So they progressed, and they went on fine with that, which was eventually became, yet did not become, the MAS-40. But in the meantime, for rear echelon troops, guards, train guards, whatever, they thought, well, there's no point kitting them out with state-of-the-art, so they developed this to equip them, and they, to an extent, tried to keep the furniture and as many parts as compatible as possible. And if you see, if you see a MAS-40 or MAS-44, the shape is very, very much similar. Yeah. So yes, and of course, war were declared again at the wrong moment, and so the MAS-44 MAS-40 was no more. These were being produced not particularly fast, so they got out as many as they could to stop the Germans, but ultimately not enough. And of course the Germans kept on using them as Beutewaffe. And once the factories were free, they picked up production and evolved the family up to the 3651, and alongside that they went ahead as intended with the semi-autos.
15, sir.
Oh,
How was that for you?
it was alright. The loading is actually pretty smooth. Putting them in. There's a nice big thumb cut out there. So on both sides. And yeah. I don't have your experience to do the thumb thing, but maybe you'll do better.
We'll see. Right,
Finger thing.
Show the mag dump.
Mag dump.
Yeah. Whee!
Quite as stylish as the Enfield system, eh? Right. You want to go?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Right, I hope that was a little bit of information. As I said before, Ian has done an entire series on these, so he's probably done a more thorough job than I. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed my fumbling attempts at running this in a Mad Minute style, and see you again on the range. Bye.